Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. We're coming up on the midway point for Season 2 of Cold War and Warzone, and I guess Modern Warfare if you want to include that in there. And per usual, the middle of the season is important because of one major thing, that being the mid-season update, sometimes also called the whole Reloaded update. It seems like we should be coming up on this patch here in just a few days' time, according to Treyarch, then also the calendar too. So today we're going over all the confirmed changes and all the expected changes that we should see across Warzone and Cold War with the mid-season update. As always, if you enjoy the video at any point, a like rating would be much appreciated. Let's go for 4,000 likes on this one. And of course, if you're new here or if you haven't already subscribed, YouTube says that we usually get around 20,000 new people a day checking out the videos for the very first time. So if that's you, by all means, feel free to subscribe to stay on top of everything going on in the world of Call of Duty. Now, as far as the timing goes, like I said, we can assume the mid-season update is going to be taking place this week or the next week. My guess, though, is probably around the 24th or the 25th, because Treyarch did end up tweeting out saying, for those asking about weapon tuning, we've got a full tuning pass coming in our next major update, aka the next title update, and Season 2's midpoint is just around the corner. So this to me is just a clear tease that the mid-season update is now just around the corner and the midpoint is this upcoming week. So sort of just adding 2 and 2 together there, that's what makes the most sense to me. That said, in the whole weekly preview blog post from Activision that we should be getting this week, we should get a direct confirmation regarding the full status of the mid-season update, and when that information surfaces, I'll be sure to let you guys know. Now, of course, that tweet from Treyarch in and of itself also confirms that Cold War is going to be getting some weapon tuning with the mid-season update. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some adjustments to weapons like the XM4, maybe the AK-74U. I could see them trying to, tune some things to try and spice up the meta over in the CDL, where obviously there's been a ton of GAs and bans recently. But yeah, Cold War is definitely getting some weapon tuning with this mid-season update. And alongside that, I would say it's likely that Warzone will be getting some tuning as well. Now keep in mind, as far as the Warzone tuning goes, this is one of the expected changes for the mid-season update. Raven has not confirmed that anything will be tuned yet, but usually with every major update in Warzone, we see some form of weapon adjustments. And looking at the meta right now, it is prime for some adjustments, right? There's obviously a few select weapons that are leaps and bounds better than the rest. We're talking the FFAR for the assault rifles, the Aug for the TAC rifles. You could maybe even make a case for the MAC-10 and the SMGs. And when it comes down to it, while these weapons are certainly really dominant in the current meta, their usage also comes into play as well. Basically, in the past, the devs have expressed numerous times that they want a diverse meta. They want players using a bunch of different weapons, not just a select few. And usually, when 1 or 2 or 3 weapons are being used like crazy, they end up getting nerfed or adjusted in some way, shape, or form to sort of, I guess, broaden that meta and encourage players to branch out to other weapons instead. And when you look at the most popular weapons in the game right now, the Aug, the FFAR, and the MAC-10 are 3 that you're going to see in every single lobby on almost every single loadout. I know when I'm playing, predominantly, if I'm dying, it's to an Aug, it's to an FFAR, it's to a MAC-10. Very rarely am I seeing something else. I'm definitely not seeing a ton of HDRs or Ram 7s or other weapons like that. It's usually one of those 3 or maybe even 2 of them on the same loadout. I know I'm constantly running the Aug and the FFAR or the MAC-10 and the FFAR. Obviously, they're very dominant, they're very effective weapons, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up getting nerfed because all of them kind of apply to both criteria for the nerfs. They're weapons that are extremely good and they're used a ton, so I would certainly expect those weapons to be nerfed, and who knows, maybe we see some other weapons buffed as well. There's still some Cold War rifles that aren't really fantastic. The XM4 is still kind of meh. The Krig is not really as good as I think it could be. I feel like the Krig could really be what the Kilo was back in like Season 4, Season 5, Season 6. Some of the SMGs I think are like a buff away from being pretty competitive. But at the end of the day, weapon tuning is likely for the Warzone side of things in this update. Now, looking at the Trello board, we've got some changes and fixes here for Cold War and Warzone yet again. Looking at the Warzone tab, currently we've got a handful of investigations underway with certain issues, including a problem on Rebirth where you can actually clip out of the map and get underneath the map, but you can still loot items like normal and you can even take out players without being shot back. Obviously, a pretty big issue if you are a Rebirth player, but Raven is aware of that and they're working to fix that. They're also focusing on this stim glitch-like issue on Rebirth where you don't have to use a stim to do the glitch. It actually kind of happens at random. Basically, you go to spawn in, and if you spawn in at a really awkward or inconvenient time, the game doesn't actually let you back into the match, but it counts you as alive. So you're kind of just in this like random spectator screen. You don't die to the gas, obviously everyone else will eventually, then you get a free win because of it, so it's very similar to how the stim glitch performs, but it's not the exact stim glitch. They've mentioned it before, they said they sort of combated it previously, but it's not fully fixed, so I'd expect that to get fully fixed come the mid-season update as well. Then the final thing they're looking into here is the armor plate bug. Honestly, I'm pretty surprised this one is still on here, considering Raven jokingly tweeted about this getting fixed quote-unquote soon, prior to Valentine's Day, yet it's still a very prominent issue. I land at Superstore every single match, and it's always a gamble on whether or not plates are actually going to spawn there. If they don't, it's pretty problematic because you have 10, 15, 20 other players landing there. Unless you're getting a ton of kills and getting plates off of those bodies, you're not going to be able to survive for very long because you just don't have the health to outlive other players. So hopefully this again is going to get fixed here at the mid-season update. Obviously it happens in various other areas on the map too. But considering this one has been on the Trello board for quite some time now, and Raven has actually tweeted acknowledging it being fixed soon, I would expect the mid-season update probably has something regarding this in it. Then, looking at the Cold War portion of the Trello board, some of these things we have seen here before and we've brought them up in some previous update videos, including COD points not displaying the correct amount, the in-game scoreboard and league play not being accurate, then also league play stats not showing up in the combat record. Then over in Zombies, Frenzied Guard still has some issues going on with that. And basically anything that has fixed scheduled or investigating here is likely going to be fixed with the mid-season update or maybe shortly thereafter. But this, of course, is not all the main things that are going to change. Of course, patch notes are usually a lot more extensive than just basically relisting what the Trello board says. And jumping back to Warzone, there's a handful of things that we could see changed here. Again, these are more so expected changes rather than officially confirmed changes, but the dev errors are a very big concern for a lot of players. These have really been destroying gameplay for like, I want to say the past 3 weeks or so. Dev error 6634 was fixed a few days back, so that one on console and PC shouldn't be an issue anymore. However, 6661 is still a problem for a lot of players. I know we run into that one a lot in our squad still. And then there's also some new memory errors going around that also hard crash your game so they completely close you out mid-game. Those are ideally going to be fixed in this update, since obviously they are literally game-breaking, so they ruin whatever you got going on in your gameplay. Those, in my mind, would be pretty high priority, and considering they're very well known, they're very prevalent in the entire community. Twitter's always talking about them. You always see them happen on stream to big streamers. Raven knows about them, and again, these should be fixed in the mid-season update, I would say. Then another content change that we're not certain of is the zombies camos in Warzone. We were told back at the start of the integration that they wouldn't be coming at launch of the integration, but sometime in the future. I mean, this entire season is themed around the zombies. We've got the zombie outbreak happening. They were at the prison, they were at the shipwreck, they're at the hospital. I think it's going to be a huge miss if they don't add in Dark Ether and Plague Diamond into Warzone sometime this season. And I would anticipate it being a title update that actually pushes that content live. So I'd say unless we're getting another title update like 2 weeks prior to season 2 ending, this would really be the next and maybe even only opportunity for zombies content to be transferred over into Verdansk. Then to close things out, we also have the roadmap, which of course we've looked at a handful of times already, but here any of the unreleased content is possible for the mid-season update, including the 2 new maps for Cold War, Golova and Fire Team and Outbreak, and then also Mansion for Gunfight, alongside the crossbow weapons, since that was actually removed from Cold War and Warzone after it was live for a bit back on Thursday. Then we also have the ZRG 20mm sniper as well. And then either Revis or Wolf as a new operator. We probably won't see both of them with the mid-season update, but likely one of them. Again though, we should learn more about the content specifics this week, and I'll be sure to keep you guys updated when that info surfaces. But yeah, there you have it. With all of that being said, those are all of the expected and all of the confirmed changes we've got for the mid-season update in Cold War and Warzone. That's gonna wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And of course, if you're new here and you want to stay up to date with everything going on in COD, from news to intel to updates and everything else in between, this is the place to be. So feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. That way you'll always know whenever I upload a new video. As always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code IMMORTAL for a discount on all Scuff, G Fuel, and Control Freak products. The links for all those can be found down in the description below. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.